I consider this, Kurdish oil, to be the final countdown. Many things are waiting for the new exchange rate, but Emo, the most important thing is this oil. Is Sudani holding up the release of the budget tables? Marks, Emo, they will release the budget tables the same time they release the new rate. So they are stuck holding those until they are ready for the rate release. Iraq leads the Arab countries and ranks 7th in the world by buying gold. Iraq came at the forefront of Arab countries in buying gold during 2024, according to the World Gold Council. The volume of its gold purchases in 2024 amounted to about 20.1 tons, and thus these reserves amount to 162 tons, while Iraq's purchases of gold in 2023 were about 12.3 tons. Vietnam's economic takeoff, surpassing the Philippines to join ASEAN's top 4. Vietnam's ascent in economic rankings is a testament to its robust growth and strategic policies aimed at fostering sustainable development. I do believe that the dinar can go up in value, but I want to clarify, if it does, it'll be based on the same mathematical rules every other country follows. GDP, supply and demand, economic growth, diversification, etc. There are so many things that are at a standstill right now waiting for the new exchange rate. That is such an obvious indication that there is a new exchange rate. Every time we see a pause, a delay, it's because it's looking for the new exchange rate. Right now the evidence is showing that Sudani is really tightening up the security on the new exchange rate. This is a very solid statement. Mountain Goat nailed it. This is also exactly what happened when Kuwait revalued. Iraq has already named the basket of currencies to back the dinar. And the gold-backed dinar will back it along with the basket of currencies. Al-Sudani and U.S. Secretary of State discuss areas of coordination between the two countries by phone. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received a phone call today, Tuesday, from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. During the phone call, the two sides discussed the overall bilateral relations between Iraq and the United States, and ways to enhance and develop them. And it was agreed to intensify communication and deepen cooperation. We know Iraq's value is not based off oil alone. Aside from the obvious natural resources, non-oil revenue streams, she has massive diversity with income streams. All of which are underlying issues to get a proper valuation based on real assets and not based off sanctioned exchange rate that is not an international one. It has been in sub-penny range for over 20 years now. It's Iraq's time to shine. Iraq's ready for full integration into the international arena. U.S. Secretary of State calls Sudani to discuss bilateral agreements. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received a phone call on Tuesday evening from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Mr. Sami said Sudani in his speech to the Iraqi citizens said very clearly, our national resources will rise in value. That's basically talking about the dinar. If it rises in value, it's because the exchange rate gave it that rise in value. And remember, they talked about returning to former rate of $3.22 back in the day, and that was based off just the oil revenue. Frank, they can come out at 1-to-1, but that would be rather cowardly. Why would you want to be 1-to-1 with the American dollar and be dragged down? This is a reinstatement of your currency. Put it back at $3.22 and let it float. When it gets to $4 something, cap it. This is a reinstatement. The return of exports and the absence of revenues. The oil file with Kurdistan opens a new page. All of this is happening right now, and is part of the HCL. This process has to change, and the dinar has to get off this sole de facto peg to the US dollar. This is the solution. That is the only way out of this mess in Iraq. They must go to a basket of currencies of developed countries as the IMF and the World Bank recommended for Iraq way back in 2011. In 2012 to 2013, the then director of the CBI, Dr. Shabibi, was going to revert to this basket of currencies, which would have allowed the dinar to be reinstated. Of course, his plan was first going to conduct the project to delete the zeros. After a difficult labor, the 2025 budget tables finally find their way to the Council of Ministers. Quote, "The Ministry of Finance will finish preparing the tables and send them to the Council of Ministers for voting on them in the middle of next month," noting that the Council of Ministers will vote on the tables without delay and then send them to the House of Representatives for voting on them. We now have a new population census. They were using Article 140, but it wasn't complete, so you were not going to have equal distribution. It's not fair to come out with a new exchange rate. We now have a new population census. Iraq reiterates OPEC pledge ahead of restart of Kurdistan oil exports. 400,000 barrels a day are headed back into the market soon. They are inspecting and taking the pipeline out of mothballs as we speak. There's no way out except through radical and immediate reform, starting with restoring the exchange rate to what it was. Quote, warns of a stifling financial crisis and for reducing the dollar price. Well, they can't do that unless of course they do what? Raise the value of the currency, dinar. They can't change the value of the dollar. The people of the region, in the world, is watching for a radical move. All the indicators are there. They've been talking about it for long enough. We can see the pressure has been up. Member of the Parliamentary Integrity Committee Hadi al-Salami revealed today, Wednesday, a report issued by the Financial Supervision Bureau revealing the presence of 22,000 fictitious employees within the Peshmerga forces. Al-Salami told Al-Maluma agency that the report of the Financial Supervision Bureau reveals the presence of 22,000 fictitious employees within the ranks of the Peshmerga, in the Kurdistan region, which led to financial differences of billions of dinars in employees' salaries. He pointed out that the report also revealed the lack of accurate verification of the names of retirees, which raises important questions about the transparency of the management of public funds and the credibility of the regional government regarding the settlement of employees' salaries in federal banks. He stressed that these violations are proven by evidence and documents issued by official bodies in the region and the center. He stressed the need to achieve justice and equality in dealing with these files in accordance with the Constitution and the law, away from any political conflicts, to ensure the integrity of financial management in the country. It is noteworthy that the Kurdistan regional government is accused of disrupting and resettling the salaries of security forces and employees, including the Peshmerga forces. The National Bank of Iraq announced that it has won the Excellence Award from Citibank, in recognition of its exceptional performance in managing incoming and outgoing financial transfers, stressing that it is an achievement that reflects its commitment to the highest standards of quality and transparency in banking services.